A $38 bag from Walmart is sitting on the same shelf as a $780 Coach tote. Same shape, same structured base, same top handles. And if you held them side by side without the tags, most women could not tell you which one cost 20 times more. That is not a guess. That is what happens when you strip away the logo, the tissue paper, the fancy shopping bag, and the story a brand has spent decades telling you about yourself. What is left is leather, stitching, hardware, and structure. And on those four things alone, Walmart is winning more quietly than any fashion magazine will ever admit. Today we are counting down 7 Walmart handbags that outperform designer bags costing anywhere from $200 to $800. And the bag at number 1 is so good that stylists have started quietly recommending it to clients without mentioning where it came from. Here is the part nobody talks about. The handbag industry has the highest markup of any category in fashion. A bag that costs a factory $30 to produce can retail for $600, and the difference is almost entirely spent on advertising, real estate, and the psychological experience of walking out of a boutique with a ribbon handle and a logo stamp. The materials inside that boutique bag are not always better, the stitching is not always tighter, and the hardware is not always stronger. For every designer bag doing something genuinely worth the price, there are 3 doing nothing more than charging you for the logo. These 7 Walmart bags are what the rest of the price looks like when you take the logo away. Before we start, drop a comment below with your most used bag right now. Tell me the brand and what you paid, and by the end of this video you will know exactly where it falls on the real value scale. Number 7. The Time and True Mini Backpack. If you have ever spent $150 on a Kate Spade mini backpack, this is the one that should quietly embarrass that purchase. Walmart's Time and True mini backpack runs around $18 to $22, comes in an almost identical structured silhouette, and uses a pebbled vegan leather exterior that holds its shape the way a budget bag almost never does. The zippers run smooth, the straps adjust cleanly, and the lining is a solid sewn fabric rather than the slippery polyester that cheap bags use and that slides everything to the bottom. The strap hardware is brass-toned instead of that thin silver that turns gray after 2 months of use. Style editors often point out that the pebbled texture does exactly what a smooth surface cannot. It hides everyday scratches and wear, which means this bag looks new a year after purchase. Kate Spade charges $160 for a near-identical small backpack made with similar materials and nearly the same construction. You are paying $140 for 3 letters on a zipper pull. The Time and True version is not trying to be designer. It simply is, for less money than a dinner out. But if backpacks aren't your shape, the next bag is built for the woman who lives out of a tote. Number 6. The Time and True Large Tote with Zipper. Coach's cargo tote has been one of the best-selling bags in the country for 3 consecutive years. It retails for $450 and is genuinely well made. It also has a nearly identical twin sitting in Walmart's handbag section for $24. The Time and True Large Zip Tote uses a structured base that does not collapse when you set it down, which is the single most important thing a tote can do and the thing most cheap bags get completely wrong. The base stays rigid, the sides hold their shape, and the zip closure keeps everything inside when you tip it sideways. The vegan leather handles are stitched, not glued, which means they survive the kind of daily loading that glued handles fall apart from inside of 6 months. The interior is divided with a zip pocket and an open pocket, which is a detail that bags twice this price often skip. It comes in camel, black, and a soft cognac that photographs so close to real leather that the images look like they belong in a boutique lookbook. Shoppers in reviews consistently report being asked where they got it, and hesitating before answering. For $24, a structured, divided, zipper-topped leather-look tote that holds its shape is not a budget compromise. It is a correct decision. And if the tote is your everyday carry, the next one is the bag that takes that same idea and adds the piece that actually makes an outfit. Number 5. The Time and True Crescent Shoulder Bag. The Crescent bag is the silhouette of the moment, and designers know it. Polena's version runs $350. Staud's version is $290. Both are beautifully made, genuinely structured, and worth every dollar. And there is a Crescent shoulder bag in Walmart's Time and True line for around $28 that holds its shape through an entire day, swings comfortably on the shoulder, and has the same soft matte finish that makes the Polène so visually clean. The closure is a magnetic snap that sits flush, not a clunky latch. The interior is deep enough for a phone, wallet, keys, and a lip gloss without stretching the leather look. The strap drop hits at the hip, which is where a Crescent should land for that effortless, I-barely-tried look that reads most expensive in person. Style reviewers who tested Walmart bags against designer shapes specifically noted this one as the strongest direct comparison, because the Crescent silhouette is so simple that the bag lives or dies on whether it holds its shape. This one holds. For a shape that is being charged for as a trend by brands who will retire it the moment it slows, paying under $30 is not settling, it is simply not getting fooled. But the next bag moves beyond trend entirely, into a shape that has never gone out of style. Number 4. The Time and True Quilted Crossbody. The quilted crossbody is one of the most copied shapes in fashion for a reason. Chanel invented the language, and every brand from Marc Jacobs to Michael Kors has borrowed it. Michael Kors sells their quilted leather crossbody for around $250. The quilting is sharp, the chain strap has real weight, and the flap closure snaps cleanly. Walmart's Time and True quilted crossbody costs around $22 and does something that shocks people when they pick it up. The quilting is even. Uneven quilting is the fastest tell on a cheap bag because it means the machine tension was off and the whole construction is inconsistent. Even quilting means the opposite. The chain strap on this one has enough weight that it sits, rather than floats, against the body the way a cheap chain never does. The flap closure is magnetic and low profile. It comes in black, cream, and a blush tone that reads far more expensive than the label suggests. Worn with a white linen shirt or a blazer, this bag makes people assume you spent money. You spent $22. That gap between assumption and reality is exactly what smart shopping looks like. The next bag stretches that gap even further, into a shape that belongs in a window on Fifth Avenue. Number 3. The Scoop Structured Top Handle Bag. Walmart's Scoop line is the brand that does not look like Walmart, and that is intentional. Scoop is Walmart's elevated fashion label, designed with a different supply chain and a higher material standard than the core house brands. Their structured top handle bag, which runs around $45 to $55, is the clearest proof that the line is genuinely different. The construction is stiff. The base plate holds the bag upright on a flat surface, the way a designer bag does, and budget bags never manage. The top handles are rolled leather look, which is a detail that is almost always exclusive to bags priced over $200, because the rolling process takes more material and more labor. The hardware is gold-toned and weighty, not that thin, hollow gold that dents when you press it. Tory Burch sells a structurally identical top handle bag for $480, and the Scoop version competes with it in every visual dimension. Style buyers who specialize in quiet luxury picks have started including Scoop in roundups alongside brands that retail for 5 to 10 times the price. That is not hype! That is what happens when the construction is actually right. The next bag is where the comparison to designer quality becomes genuinely uncomfortable for the brands charging full price. This is the halfway point. And if any of these bags are already in your cart, do one thing before you keep watching. Hit subscribe. The top 2 bags on this list are the ones that made me double-check the tag, because the quality is not what you expect from a receipt that says Walmart. The brands at numbers 2 and 1 are the ones stylists are using without telling their clients where they came from. Let's finish the list. Number 2. The Free Assembly Leather Look Satchel. Free Assembly is Walmart's partnership line developed with real fashion design input, and the difference from a standard house brand is immediate in the hand. The leather look material on their satchel uses a multi-layer construction, not a single coated surface, which means it does not crack at the fold points the way most vegan leather starts to within a year. The stitching is double-stitched at the handles and base corners, which are the two places a bag fails first under daily use. The interior is fully lined in a woven fabric rather than a loose polyester, and it includes a padded laptop sleeve, which means this satchel is built as a carry-everything work bag, not a fashion afterthought. The structured shape stays square even when the bag is fully loaded. Compare it to a Coach Town bucket or a Kate Spade medium satchel in the $300 range, and the structural performance is the same. The difference is that free assembly does not have the brand equity those names carry, and that equity is not made of leather. It is made of 30 years of marketing spend. At around $40 to $50, this is the bag that daily carry women buy once and stop thinking about. Because it works. The bag at number 1 makes that story even harder to believe. Number 1. The Time and True Bucket Bag in Genuine Leather. Here is the one that changes the conversation. Walmart carries a genuine leather bucket bag under the Time and True label, often priced between $45 and $65 depending on the season, and it is made from real full-grain leather. Not bonded leather, not leather look. Actual leather sourced and tanned, with the grain variation and the slight natural imperfections that are the proof of the real thing. Mansur Gavriel's bucket bag is one of the most praised leather bags in the contemporary market, and retails for around $495. The leather is soft, vegetable tanned, and develops a patina over time. The Walmart Time and True bucket uses a similar full-grain construction, and while the tanning process is not identical, the material outcome is not far off. Real leather that softens with wear, resists surface scratches, and ages into something that looks more expensive over time rather than less. That is the quality signature that separates real leather from every imitation on this list and every other. The drawstring closes the bag cleanly, the interior is a clean drop-in space with a single zip pocket, and the base is flat and reinforced. Style editors who ran a blind test between this bag and a designer version in the same category reported that most participants identified the Walmart bucket as the more expensive item, based on how the leather felt in the hand. At $60, this bag is the single most direct proof that the designer premium in handbags is almost entirely about the name. A woman who carries this bag and says nothing has made the smartest purchase on this list. Real leather, at a price that leaves the rest of your budget intact. There is something I did not say at the start of this video, and it matters more than any bag on the list. Every single one of these Walmart handbags will outlast a mid-range designer bag if you do one thing correctly. Most women skip it entirely and wonder why their bags look used after 6 months. It costs nothing, takes 2 minutes, and it is the difference between a bag that ages beautifully and one that falls apart by next summer. I break down exactly what that is in the next video, including how to do it for real leather, vegan leather, and quilted fabric, so you never waste money on a bag that could not have been saved. Watch it next. It is on your screen right now.